Well, with these weapons, I'm trying to understand this.
Yeah.
And I think I have at least a grasp of quantum entanglement. So what you're saying, so every point of space and time is connected.
Correct.
Through whatever, atoms. I'll just call them atoms.
Yeah, but with no time delay.
And so if I was to use one of these energy weapons, let's just say from me to you, 6 feet apart, and I use this energy weapon at the exact same time to an object that's 75,000 miles away.
It'd be the same time interval.
It would be...
Take the same amount of time.
It would be the exact same amount of time.
Right.
Okay, that's what I thought. So how does that differentiate from teleportation?
Teleportation is actually the movement of an object from point to A to B.
Okay.
Okay, not just the energy. So you take this bottle and you do it that way.
Okay.
So it's in the same sort of, again, category of transdimensional physics and advanced physics and technologies. And the real action is in the electromagnetic and magnetic spin, all of that. And so the people who understand this that I've met with who've worked on these technologies and have had them in their labs, and I've been in some of these labs, is a fascinating technology. And if it was used for something good, I mean, we'd have a whole new planet here. I mean, it'd be phenomenal, beautiful.
Wow.
Well, that's what The Lost Century, the documentary that we just released, is all about 100 years of these sort of technologies that have been sequestered and confiscated, and how, if they were disclosed, we would have a civilization well within your baby's lifetime. Before he's in high school, we'd have a world with no pollution, no poverty, and no energy issues in terms of energy shortage, because you'd be pulling energy out of the fabric of space-time and the so-called zero point or quantum vacuum from this quantum level. And that's what Tesla stumbled across. I mean, he didn't call it that because the physics of it weren't fully elaborated, but he saw the effect of it.
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the documentary. For now, back to the underground facility.
That's a big one at Dugway. It's what this gentleman firsthand had not been in it. He has the name of a scientist, senior scientist, U.S. government, that was at the Dugway facility, and he said that the complex that's underground goes out. It's about 1,300 square miles, not acres, miles.
1,300 square miles.
Yeah.
What's in there?
All this stuff, the technologies, the craft, operations. We know that I had a man who was out there who had special night vision. He was special operations and embedded, but he was a scientist. And he was out there, and wee hours, there were these massive triangular objects, silent, launching from that area, but underground, and would come out over the range. No lights on them, totally, fully operational. And, you know, those are one category of the man-made advanced technology platforms, or alien reproduction vehicles, some people call them. There are quite a few out there at Dugway.
These government documents from the U.S., Canada, Australia, Russia, and the U.K., what are some of those documents?
Oh, they run the whole gamut. For example, I have a document, wasn't declassified, but it was provided to me by a source from Area 51, Nellis, and it lists, as of the early 90s, I got it in the 90s, all the code numbers and code names that were on a security alert because there were a group of civilians who were trying to spy on the range, where they had to shut everything down because it was a large group. And it was a security alert, but it was an NRO document, National Reconnaissance Office document. And it had key names on it. It had a Magi on it, the Majority Joint Intelligence Committee, or MAGIC. It had Cosmic Ops on it, Royal Ops. It had Blackjack Control on it. It had key actionable intelligence, and that's one of the documents I gave to some of the folks in the White House over the years, or Pentagon, because it's a legitimate document that actually gives specific code word and numbers that were out in that particular area. And it's still there. I mean, it's not like you pick up an asset like that and move it to where. So we know where they are. And that's why our 145 facilities, I've just learned of a new one that we'll be putting on that map soon. It's supposed to be taken there.
Where's this?
I can't say where, but right now.
Can we put the map up?
Yes, and you put the map up, you'll see many of them are places people know. They know Edwards Air Force Base, but where? Where do you go to at the Nellis Range? It's a huge range, Air Force Base. And then the Nevada test site, which is where we tested nuclear weapons, going north. But out there's some very key assets. And there's a Delta Force Hilo base out there that's used for retrieving extraterrestrial vehicles and retrieving downed, accidentally crashed man-made ones that malfunction. So we have a man on our team who was on a retrieval operation initially for conventional aircraft, jets, for their classified components. And then he got read into an operation retrieving the man-made ones, which blew his mind, the Raytheon and Northrop ones. Then he got read into the ones that are, he was on one operation where we stunned one of these extraterrestrial vehicles. This is one I showed at the event. And it didn't crash. It got stunned and landed out there on the range, the Nevada test range. And they were moved in helos to retrieve it. And that interesting account of that, it began to come back to life, and an opening came out of it, and it looked like a fruit roll-up came down, and a couple of extraterrestrials emerged that he literally was in 3 or 4 feet of them. We have the drawing of them, of what they look like. But what happened is that at that point, that craft was being checked by helicopters in the air, as well as one of these ARVs, man-made ones, the triangular. When this thing began to sort of glow, reddish, and come to life, boom, our aircraft took off. Now the boots on the ground there and the choppers on the ground, after a few minutes, they were all, I know this sounds like Star Trek, they were all teleported back to the Hilo base instantly.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they weren't harmed. None of them were harmed. But apparently this whole event convinced this particular operator to get out of that system, because he knew what he sensed from these ETs was that they were completely benign, very much here to help us, and we were doing horrible things to them. And they also said, we know what you're doing. We're not going to allow you to do this much longer. It was sort of a warning. That happened in 2000 and, I believe that was 2010, 11 time period.